welcome to the Wealthy Lala Show with myself, Laurie Larson. Oh, today is episode 166. So, how are you guys all doing today? Not that you can respond back, but give me shouts out. I'm energetically receiving all of what's going on in your world. Well, I hope it's good. I hope you're having fun. Yeah. So, one of the things that popped, kind of had about 5 or 6 things that I wrote little notes about that I wanted to talk about today. So I'm just going to start in one place and we'll see how it goes. I notice when I go on, say, Facebook or like other, social media platforms, and people talk about themselves being empaths or, highly sensitive people, HSPs, or and titles, giving themselves like labels or titles like that. And I'm definitely a person who is a highly sensitive person, and I'm also a person who's very empathic. And I used to go by the idea that, we needed to protect ourselves, and that we would have to, I don't know, people will talk about grounding themselves. People will talk about, putting almost like a bell jar over themselves or the other people, or you imagine you have mirrors all the way around you and that they're reflecting back. So what anybody, sends or has going on in their world, anything they send to you, anything that's going on in their world is reflected back to them, or at least reflected away from you. And, the I used to feel like, or I used to buy that to be true, mostly because I just heard it from other people, but I hadn't actually really questioned it until I came across, when I was a part of taking some classes, where it's almost like we're asked, is anything ever greater than us in the potency of who we truly be? So, not saying I haven't chosen to use the mirrors or the bell jars, or, ask for guides and angels and grounding and things like that. And knowing, when those tools they contribute, right? And not ever making anything greater than ourselves. And where it came up was, I was seeing a post where someone had put on Facebook where they don't want to go anywhere, or, oh gosh, I wish I could find it. I wonder if I search for it here while we're kind of chatting. But to basically say that I'm not going to go anywhere or hang around anybody that is, okay, here we go. I'm at a place in life where peace is priority. Totally get that. I totally get that. Totally relate to it. Totally get that that's light in my world. The next thing was, I deliberately avoid certain people to protect my mental, emotional, and spiritual state. So the part that was like a red flag to me was, I deliberately avoid. And what I now know to be true is that anything we avoid, we're in resistance to. Anything we avoid, we've made greater than ourselves. And what I know now to be true is that we can be bigger than, be more, oh God, I can't even think of the terminology. We have more potency than anything. And when we recognize that and step into it, then we're no longer at the effect of anything. So when I've talked to you guys before about, like, say I'm invited to a function, okay? And in my head, I think, oh, I don't want to go because so-and-so is going to be there, right? Yet, when I ask, truth, will this actually create greater for me to attend this function? Will it create greater for me, my life, my body, my reality now and in the future? And if it's light, I will go. I will choose it. I will show up. I may be uncomfortable, and I will choose it anyways. So that I'm no longer at the effect of anything. Now, I still may bring in, I may be aware. So, because it's a muscle that we're also growing. When we're taught that we're victims, when we're taught that we're at the effect of others, that we're taught that we're at the effect of energies, then we do have to protect ourselves. But once we discover and uncover or have the concept even invited to us that actually nothing is more potent than us being all of us as ourselves. So before I knew this, say I'd be invited to a function, I'd think so-and-so was going to be there. I'd be like, oh my God, I'd get really uptight. I'd either avoid going or I would go and be really highly stressed. So, neither of those, if you can sort of perceive the energy of it, were really good options because I would have felt bad at home not going. I would have done a good job of guilt on myself, or I would have gone and then felt like I couldn't deal with the situation. Now, what I've discovered is that as I approach a situation, so say, there is someone in your life that triggers you, that you're triggered by, okay? What is right about that? What is this person inviting you to? What is it asking of you that you wouldn't choose had you not been in and around this person? Now, your choice might be that it actually creates greater to say not go to that function or not hang around the person, but you're doing it with choice, not with avoidance or fear or trying to quote unquote, protect yourself, but you're actually coming from a place of strength. It could be that one day you're like, you know what? I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me for whatever this situation is going to require. I'm going to stay home. I'm choosing that. It's totally light. That's expansive. That's what creates greater. And then there's another time where it's going to be totally light to go. And it's going to be, oh boy, what do I need to do to create this situation or this conversation to be something that's actually going to have more ease for me in my world? Because that's one thing that I know that I can ask for now. I can ask for ease. I can ask for ease if I stay home from a situation. If I can ask for ease if I say don't talk to someone anymore. I can also ask for ease if I'm invited into a situation that's light to go to. And there's going to be maybe people or persons there that have had, I've been triggered with in the past. And it could be triggered for many reasons. Like this doesn't even have to mean that they're the type that can be, you know, have a jerky moment or something like that. I mean, you can even be triggered by people who have more money than you or people that have success in a different way than you. And say you're a person who is, wanted to have children and you're 38 and you're going to a party and there's going to be 2 pregnant people there. You know what? Sometimes it's not going to necessarily create greater to go. So whatever is actually kinder to you. And each of us can only know in that moment for ourselves what is actually creating greater or not. No one else can judge that for us. No one else can decide that for us. And what if we could choose it, choose to either say yes or no to a situation, conversation, whatever, and allow ourselves to just have the freedom to have ease with it and to know that we're creating greater. And there could be a time where you're like, oh, you know what? I'm not going. 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 And you're at home and you're like, oh, I kind of really chickened out on that one. It actually was later to go. I can see where I just, the words just have sort of escaped me, but it's like I can see where I could have got myself a little out of my comfort zone to go, and that I was just kind of afraid. So I wasn't actually choosing, like I was choosing and I made the choice, um, but I wasn't allowing myself to necessarily choose it from what would necessarily create greater. And keep this in mind, people. If you say don't choose something and then at home you're like, oh, I really could have, that's not even wrong, because you gained awareness with that too. The same thing as if you go and you're like, okay, I really don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, and you're like, oh, but I've got these people expecting this of me, whatever. You allow that to wear yourself down, you go. Maybe you don't even know that at the time, but you go there and you go to some situation and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, it actually didn't create greater for me to come here. I actually was coming for my boss, for my family, for my partner, for my kids, like whatever, but it wasn't actually something that was going to create greater. And again, even that's not wrong. Like we learn as we go along, like these little places where we're choosing for ourselves or we're resisting and avoiding. And all of it becomes information that we gather for next time. You know, I was talking to someone recently who they were talking about planning an Easter dinner, and they usually always have it on the Sunday. And they were considering having it on the Saturday so different people could come. And it ended up that they were like, no, they didn't want to disappoint the people that expected on a Sunday. And so you could say, well, you should have just had it on the Sunday. I would have just had it on the Sunday, like, or on the Saturday. I would have just had it. Let those new people come. They could come. Like, why not? That would be good for them. And then when I've looked at myself over the years, I didn't get from A to Z overnight. You know, like sometimes it was the 1 year of not choosing it that you went, oh, we actually could have choose it. You know, you get to sit in the energy, the sense of what it was like to not choose something different. And then if it keeps the situation keeps talking to you, then maybe the next year or the next holiday or the next family get together, you choose something different. And you're like, no, I'm actually going to choose something different, different from what regular tradition is, you know, that doesn't hurt anybody. It's just different, right? And and then it might take 3 years. It might take 3 different get-togethers to all of a sudden go, oh yeah, I wish I would have done it before. Okay, but I didn't. And then go to the next time. It's like, oh, no, quite don't have it in me. Then the third time, it's like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to choose this. I'm going to do something different because I know that it's a contribution when I choose something different. Or, you know, but also too, you have an awareness that this is going to create something different, but you're also aware of the people in your world or in your situation that are going to have resistance or a pullback to something different. And are you willing to choose it anyways? And can you not beat yourself up if you don't? And can you let yourself get there when you get there? And yeah, so really look in your life if you actually avoid people or places, and you know what? Emotions. Do you avoid emotions for yourself even to protect you? You know, like say you've got anger comes up and you're like, no, 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 I'm going to squash that down. I don't want to deal with it because you want to protect yourself from it. And yet, what if facing it, cleaning it up, and then choosing something different creates greater? But allowing yourself to be present with all these uncomfortable energies that come up with choosing a different situation, with being around someone uncomfortable, with being in a situation that's different. Like, can you allow yourself to face it? Allow yourself to have what you require to allow yourself to be comfortable or have as much ease with the situation as possible. And then go from there. Like, what do you need? What do you need? Do you need to have a buddy there? Do you need to have a friend you can phone as soon as you're done? Like, what do you need to create, a situation to be easier for you to choose that you know is light, but it's out of your comfort zone? And yeah. So, anyways, it's just, I know for myself, I avoided people, places, and emotions like for freaking ever. And I saw what it did to me. And I saw that the more I stay present with people, places, and emotions, the greater my life gets, the more choice that I have, the more I like me. And you know what? I had heard this just recently that this guy said that he thinks self-confidence is when you have self-trust. What if you gain so much trust in yourself that you can handle anything? And that you can also handle your awareness on anything to know whether something creates greater or not for you. And if you choose it and it's uncomfortable, it's creating greater. And if you don't choose it, oh my gosh, how does it get any better? We're already done for today. You guys have a great day. If you guys have any topics you'd like to reach out for a coaching session, anything like that, love to hear from you. thewealthylala@gmail.com. So big hugs to you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day.